Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Cornelius. So in this video we're going to be talking about loops in Python. Loops allow us to write a program that executes repeatedly until a condition is met. So there are times that we want to execute certain parts of our program more than once. So the mechanism in Python that allows us to do that is called loops. So in Python we have two main types of loops: for loops and while loops. For loops allow us to go through a collection of items, say elements in a list or a dictionary. And while loops, it allows us to execute a program as long as a condition is true. So it will only stop when the condition is false. So without wasting your time, let's see some examples. Now imagine you're at an event and your duty is to welcome guests to the event, right? And you want to say hello to everyone. So you can do print hello every single time. Alright, and let's do this 5 times. So when you run the program, you get hello 5 different times. But this is a very basic program, and now we've written 5 lines already. So we can do all of this with 2 lines of program, and it will still work even if we have 1000 guests. So to do that, we can use a for loop. For I in range 5. Alright, so print hello. So I'll remove this first one so you can see the new one. So now when we run the program, same effect, nothing special. We can even make it 10 so you can see the difference. So you get hello 10 times. Now, what does I mean? I is a variable that is assigned to every number in the range of 0 to 10. Alright, actually it will stop at 9. So the syntax of this range method goes like this. So you have the starting point, the stop or end point. Then you can also specify the number of steps you want to take. Alright, so in our case we are using the endpoint by default, and it always stops 1 before the endpoint because it starts at 0. So when we add this number, we try to print out the number alongside. So imagine you want to say hello guest 1, guest 2, and so on. We simply print I. So now you get hello 0, 1, 2, 3 to 9. Alright, so if we don't want to have guest 0, which there is no guest 0 because there is no human being that's 0. Alright, so in this case we can specify the starting point. Okay, so now when I run the program, you start from 1, 2, 3 to 9, but we still want it to be 10 guests, right? So the only way we can do that is by making it 11. So we offset the endpoint by 1. So now when you run it, you get hello from 1 to 10. Or you can also do like this and say 10 plus 1. Alright, and why is this useful? In some cases you actually want to use a variable. So I'll say guest count should be equal to 5. So in this case we'll simply do guest count, we offset it by 1, so guest count plus 1, and then when you run it you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So even though guest is 5 plus 1, 6, so it will stop at 5. Sorry. So let's see how we can also print with steps. Alright, so let's say we have for I in range starting from 2, right? We want to count to 10 and we want to jump step by 2. So in this case we now do print I. So when we run the program, what do we expect to see? You get 2, 4, 6, 8. So we say starting from 2 to 10, skip every 2 step and print the next. So from 2 we print 4, then 6, then 8. So we can also print them on the same line by doing like this. So when you run it now, you get everything on the same line. Now remember I said for loops are very useful for going through a list of items. Alright, so let's see an example. So we create a list of animals. Alright, so we equal to a list of cats, dog, and we can say lion, and let's add one more, we'll say cow. All right, so we can now write a loop. So we say for, we can go through each animal element in the animals list. So we say for animal singular in animals. All right, so animal, the singular, represents each element in the list, while animals is the list itself. So we now print that individual animal. All right, so now when we run the program, you get cat, lion, and dog. Let me put a stop here and do print. All right, to add an empty space. So now when we run it, you get cat, dog, lion, and cow. So we can also print their index. So to be able to print the index of elements in a list, we use the range and another method called len, which takes the length of the list. So we'll put animals inside it. So now we can now say print animal at any given index. All right, so say animals, print animal at that index. Then we can print the index also. All right, so when we run this now, it works the same way, but like I said, we can also print the index. So in this case, I'll do animal. So you get 0, 1, 2, 3. So 0, 1, 2, 3. We print the index. So if this animal is now confusing with the index, we can simply change it to I. All right. So simply say I. All right. Good. Now when we run the program, you get this. So onto while loop now. While loops. So while loop allows us to run a program as long as a condition is true. All right, and it's very good for counting things. So say we have a variable called count. Let's say count is equal to 10. All right, and now we want to count from 1 to 10. So I'll say while count is less than or equal to while count is sorry, I should put this to 1. We want to start from 1. Then we say while count is less than or equal to 10. What should we do? We print 1, or we can write count 1. Let me use an F string. So say count. Right. So we do count. Now we want it to be able to increment every single time after counting. So we do count plus equal to 1. So it increments by 1. The first time it executes, we print 1 because count was initially set to 1. Then after printing 1, it comes down here to line 19, increment count by 1. It goes back up, print count. Firstly, it checks if count is less than or equal to 10. So if it is, the condition is still true, which is true because count is currently 2, then it prints count as 2. It comes down, increment count to 3. Then it goes back up and check if count is less than or equal to 10, and count is less than 10 because count is 3. So it prints 3, comes down, increments it to 4, and so on until we get to 10. So now let's run the program, and you see count 1, count 2, count 3 to 10. All right, so we can also use this to do a countdown, right? So we can say let's assign counts at this point to be equal to 5. So we cannot do a countdown from, or let's just say 3. All right, so because countdown is usually 3. So we say while count is greater than 0, right? So print count. Then we decrease count, we decrement, perform a decrement on count. So count minus equal 1. So now when we run it, you get 3, 2, 1. So count was initially 3. It checks, is count greater than 0? Count is greater than 0. So it prints count, we got 3. Then it comes down here to line 24 and remove 1 from count. So count is now 2. It checks again, is count greater than 0? And since count is 2, count is greater than 0. So it prints 2, decrement, it does the same for 1. And the last time it checks is count greater than 0. Count, it was already 0 at the time, so count is no longer greater than 0. So our program stops running. Now we can mix loops with conditional statements, and this gives us the ability to make our program more intuitive and intelligent. All right, so using control statements, we can use something like break statements. All right, so break will stop the loop entirely. It will stop it at that point. So let's say we have a string, so I'll say for I in hello. All right, so I'll say print I. So we get HELLO. All right, so now let's use a break statement to stop the execution once we hit an L. So I'll say if I is equal to, remember double equals is an equality operator, right? So if it is equal to L, so what should you do? Break. All right, so print I. Now when we run the program, what do you expect? We see only HE because the program stops running the moment it hits the first L. So we can also try this. Another control statement we have is called the continue statement. Right, so we say for I in range, for I in range 1 to 5. All right, if I is equal to, we don't want to print 3, so if I is equal to 3, continue. So it will skip 3 and continue from the rest. All right, so print I. So what does this do? It starts from 1, it skips 3 and continue with the rest. So you get 1, 2, 4. Remember, we did not offset by 1, so I've set by 1. So we get 1, 2, 4, 5. Good. Then we can also attach an else to a for loop. Yeah, we can attach else to a for loop. So I'll say for I in range, for I in range 1 to 4. Why not? We cannot do, sorry. For I in range 1 to 4, we can say print I, and then when we are done printing I, we can now say finished counting from 1 to 4, or from 1 to 3. So I'll say else print counting from 1 to 3. All right. So now when we run this, the else we only execute once the loop has finished executing. So let's run this program. So you see, it prints 1, 2, 3, then it says finished counting from 1 to 3. All right, so then another thing we should look at is called the nested loop. So nested loop is when we put one loop inside another. All right, so say for I in range 3, for I in range 3, then we put another loop inside it for J in range 3 also. All right, so we say print, I'll use an F string, I is equal to I, while J is equal to J. So now what do you expect? When we run the program, you see something very interesting. All right, so I was 0, 0, 0, then 1, 1, 1, then 2, 2, 2. All right, but for J, we got 0, 1, 2 for every 3 times that I was 0. Then we also got 0, 1, 2 for all the 3 times that I was 1. Then 0, 1, 2 when I was 2. What does this mean? It means for every single time, all right, that I executes, J goes through the whole thing. In fact, let me remove this and make it a variable so that it makes sense to you. So I'll say count is equal to 4. Let me make this 4. So I'll pass count here. Then I'll pass count here also. So when we run this, you see, they both started from 0. So when I was 0, J also started from 0 since they are going through the same variable. So it printed 0, I was still at 0, J printed 1, J printed 2, J printed 3. So when it is done going through the whole thing, I moves a step further again. So J goes through the entire thing for I to move once. So when I moves to 1, J started from 0 again. So 0, 1, 2, 3. Then I moves to 2. J 0, 1, 2, 3 again. Before I moves to 3, then 0, 1, 2, 3. So this is a very basic example for a nested loop in Python. But that's all for this video. I don't want to put too complex examples in the video. In future videos, I'll go deeper into nested loops and other things that we can use them with. So that's all for this video. We talked about for loops, which allow us to go through a sequence of item or a collection like lists. Then we have the while loop, which executes as long as a condition is true. Then we also see control statements like break and continue. Break stops the loop once it's what we want to stop, once we get to it. Then continue, we only skip that one thing and continue to the rest. Then we can attach an else to a for loop, to a loop, to be able to print once the loop is done executing. Then we also have nested loops, which is a loop inside another loop. So that's your full guide to loops in Python. They allow us to write programs that are cleaner, right? So in the future, we also see things like recursion, which allows us to execute program repeatedly by calling a function. But for now, that's all for loops, and I'll see you in the next video. Please make sure to like the video if you learn from this, subscribe to the channel, and comment below if you have any question. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.